Hi, Davi here, and today we have a new episode in the art review series. And today we'll be checking out the work of chenchao. So I did find this guy's ArtStation page, and although I will recommend the Pixiv more because that's where most of their work is. I found this artist, I believe, through Pinterest. It's been a while since I've opened up to Pinterest, but sometimes you do get some nice recommendations. And recently, because of my injury of my right hand, just some context. My right wrist is doing well now. It's not fully there, but there's hardly any pain. I mean, I still have to take in some painkillers, but it's pretty much over. Like 90% of the pain or the injury is gone. But the thing is, it now flared up, or now my right elbow is flaring up. Now it's experiencing the same pain. Let's say that my right wrist was experiencing, right? So basically, for this whole week, for this past week, it started in my right knee, flared up, extreme pain, and then it moved up to my wrist, my right wrist, and then now it's in my right elbow. So, by the way, it's gout. For those of you who have or have experienced gout, it's that sharp needle-like pain. Fuck me. It was worse on my wrist, so thankfully it's gone now. So hopefully after this elbow pain is gone, I can finally use my right arm fully. Jesus. It never ends. Anyway, so in the last, I did an art process video. I was doing this study of this anime frame. It's from an anime called Elusive Samurai. And I was trying to start or block in the major shapes with the lasso fill tool. And thankfully, kind of maybe the universe was sending me a sign. I found this guy, this artist, and they do have a similar approach where they do utilize the lasso fill tool. It's not always like the lasso fill. Sometimes it's just like a big brush. But it's usually very solid, not much texture in it. Maybe the background actually has a little more texture than the actual subject. But what's cool about this artwork is it has a very traditional basis. If you look at any sort of old Chinese or old Japanese paintings or illustrations, it has that vibe where think of sumii. I think the name is, I think that's a Japanese term, but the point is to capture the essence of the thing or the spirit of the thing. And it's so interesting being able to see that in this digital form via blobs, via shapes, and it's an extreme, I guess, form of, would I call this impressionistic? Maybe it's kind of dabbling in that area, but I think it's a bit different. I would recommend, by the way, the work of Kobe Sek. He's a Singaporean artist. Sometimes he'll start out his illustrations with the lasso fill tool with these sorts of blobs, and then you'll see him sort of develop his artwork from there. So I will link his work too in the description below. But yeah, I was just so pulled in, inspired to see. And this one's different. I'm going to skip the more the ones with line work in it because it's not really my thing. I do like the horse stuff or the warrior stuff where people are fighting. But as you can see, the bulk of their portfolio is or has that traditional vibe to it, right? Very ink. You can see the ink strokes here. I do think this is the lasso fill tool. I think it's a lasso fill tool. Or even if it's not, it's a very basic solid brush, no texture at all, and very minimal. These are the ones that I really like because it captures the essence of the thing, right? And it's not always a standstill image. It feels like the horse is actually running, the rider or the warrior is something is happening, and it feels like it's moving. So it has that motion-like effect. And if you zoom in at the actual subject, the horse, the actual guy riding the horse, you don't see as much detail, right? So right now there is that impressionistic thing that's happening where it's about the impression of the thing. You're not trying to accurately illustrate the thing. It's more of the gist of it, the spirit of the thing, the impression of the thing. And it's just nice seeing it in moving form where people are doing something, because oftentimes, I do see this a lot with impressionistic paintings where it's more of a standstill sort of subject where it's not moving, like an architectural space, landscapes, stuff like that. So it can get boring. But seeing stuff like this where people are kind of moving, fighting, running, it's just inspiring for me, because I am using mostly my left hand now, temporarily, and even though I can't really fully render stuff, because obviously I'm using my non-dominant hand, it doesn't mean I can't make artwork, right? So it's very validating seeing stuff like this where you can still produce something by capturing the core of like a movement, a story. And again, as much as my injury is kind of annoying, it's sort of awakening something in me. Or I'm having this arc, this simple arc. I'm not sure what to call it, but it's a type of mentality of simplicity, like not trying to like starting from the basics, like really owning the fundamentals of something. I think that's something that has been sort of flourishing in me. I mean, look at this. It's so raw and real. If you want more modern subjects like mechas and character designs of this sort of a generation, again, Kobe Sek is the only guy that kind of comes up in my mind. Oh shit, maybe a bit of Madao, Madao. Although he does use a bit of like a initial sketch or line work, but if you look at his shapes, it's very like fluid, very gestural, right? And that's what I can see with this guy's work too. It's very gestural, but via shapes. So there's no line work, hardly any line work here, but there's sort of a movement thing. The spirit is definitely there, right? And the textures, it's mostly in the background actually. Sometimes you'll see it a bit in the main subject, but he likes to, or she, or they like to keep it simple. Hardly any textures for the main subject. Look at this. This is like a fight scene, two different sides battling it out. I mean, look at this, right? The edges aren't always tight, aren't always clear, but you get it, right? And you don't need that many strokes to say something. And that's also what's cool about this type of approach, is obviously for me, because the more strokes means like more effort, and that can get in the way. In my context, again, I'm using a non-dominant hand, so it's just more effortful, and it can sort of take away the energy if I'm trying to illustrate something. If I'm constantly trying to render, it kind of prolongs what I want to do. If it's just to capture a moment, a story, you don't need much, right? Look at this. Oh shit, like it's like a Mexican standoff in a way, except it's like there's I'm not sure what are they trying to block the guy in the middle? Maybe, right? Look at this. Look at how the horses are done, how the riders are done. The shapes are not always. Sometimes you see some white openings in between the actual subject, right? It doesn't always meet, those shapes. It's so interesting. I think there's also I'll link other people that are kind of close to this approach, although their work is a bit more detailed, a bit more like painted over, but I think they have a similar vibe. I'm thinking I can't even remember the name, but an environment artist guy. Xuzheng? I'm not gonna bother remembering. I'll just link whoever I remember in the description below. Lots of textures. Well, not really, but in the sand or in the ground and in the sky, right? I don't like how the signature or the trademark thing is kind of in this style. It's so like oriental. By the way, I'm Asian, so I can say that. So it just means like it looks traditional, even though the tools used is obviously digital, right? It's like there's that continuity of culture, right? How it adapts and evolves. It's like fucking, it's amazing. Oh shit, I think it looks like someone is getting knocked out, right? Look at that. It's a mix. Sometimes it's a brush stroke, sometimes it's a lasso fill, a bit of both. Oh shit. I'm not logged in. I do recommend Pixiv. Yes, it's mostly going to be like anime heavy. That's where most of that's the brand of Pixiv. But yeah, you know, anime is not bad, number one. But number two, sometimes you see artwork that's not really anime-esque, but it's in Pixiv. Because it's a bit more reliable and it's just nice to post there. It has a clean look too. And obviously you do see a lot of like not safe for work stuff, right? Yeah. Anyway, look at this, the chaos. Look at that. To me, it's kind of hard to tell what this is. I mean, clearly there's a guy here, right? And the horse is here, but it's just so loose. And sometimes it is hard to see and tell where things are. But what's cool is sometimes it matters more to the artist, right? Because for as long as they were able to capture the moment in their mind, for as long as they can see what this is, that's enough. You know, if you want to draw, illustrate for someone else, obviously a bit of development, just add a new layer, define some forms here and there, and then it's pretty much done, right? So yeah. And I think sometimes we do think about, you know, our audience, our viewers, about, you know, how would they perceive what we make. And you know, we are social creatures, you know, we like to see how people will react to our creations, to our artwork, and that's good. But sometimes I think it's not about that, or it should not be about that. Sometimes it's about saying what you want to say, even if it doesn't make sense to someone else. Sometimes the priority should be just you and your own voice. In fact, even before your voice, before your, you know, your style, voice, whatever, before your medium, the idea itself has to be prioritized. And I think you'll see this a lot in this artist's work, where it's really more about the idea first, then maybe the style or the medium or the technique. Oh, look at this. Oh shit, it reminds me also of the Danilla something. I did an art review of their work too. Although there's a lot of like paint overs, right? So it's getting a bit more impressionistic, like typical or standard impressionistic paintings, but it does start off rather rough like this and very gestural. Look at that. And when you're conceptualizing, you don't have to go full detail immediately. You can just add these shapes, right? And they seem so fun too. Oh, my elbow hurts. In a couple of days, hopefully I'll be back to normal. But I'm actually getting a little used to my left hand now, so that's kind of good. So I'm basically somewhat ambidextrous, not totally, but this was a good learning experience. That's how I choose to see it anyway, you know. That's the bright side, I guess. Oh shit. Again, most of the textures are in the background. And they do like to leave a bit of that white space. It's not totally filled in with color or other values. This one is like brown. You know, it has that paper kind of feel. Is this the Monkey King? Maybe. But again, very loose, gestural. Look at this. I think the horse is kind of falling down. Pretty cool. That's a long ass sword. Or spear with a long, like, pointy thing. Oh my god. I saw this earlier. I thought this was a rhino, but turns out it's not. You're seeing the horse from the backside. So this whole thing right here is actually the hair or the tail of the horse. So I kind of mistook it as a rhino. Like, here's the ear and here's the horn, right? But once you zoom in, you do see the character here. It's the backside with the arrows, right? So there's that. Look at that. Let's see some more. But yeah, that's basically the gist of their or the types of artwork that really that I like. Oh shit, that's a lot. So different types of archers, interesting. They're sort of marching. And I love the views too, kind of like this one. Right? Those shadows, seeing things from above. It's so like, there's so much storytelling that's happening here. Right? Maybe they're running off, retreating, or maybe they're just heading to where they're supposed to fight, right? And I love how a lot of the canvas is empty. Yeah, I mean, it's been painted, sure, but for example, in this part, it's sort of just left there. And it kind of contrasts these horsemen with their shadows. Like, it's a good composition, right? Let me just hit the next button here. Oh my god, right? It's so... Is serene the word? It has a peaceful vibe to it. Like, you're in the moment. You know, it's about the moment. Even though the actual scene is crazy, like people are dying, fighting, stuff like that, there's almost like a peaceful vibe to it. And I think this artist, is really good at being able to capture that with not many brushstrokes. You know, very loose, gestural shapes, strokes, and just leaving it untouched, you know? I forgot the term for it, but there's the term in Japanese where you don't try to fix things fully, where in fact the aim is to want things to be a bit imperfect, and that's what's considered perfect. I forgot the actual like design or philosophy term for that, but I do see it in this guy's work. Look at that. Two guys charging at it. See? Sometimes it's a close-up shot of like one character, like this one. Look at that. Oh, this one's a bit more, lots of texture in the foreground here. Ooh. And you can see a bit of smoke coming from the horse kind of running through the ground. Anyway. Again, another top shot here. Ooh. It's a full-on fight. You can see the arrows, the missed ones, some guys falling, some guys dying. Oh shit, this guy got shot. This one, oh shit. These guys charging forward. Oh, this horse got shot in the fucking neck. Oh no. Oh, this guy's dead. This one too. And they're gonna get run over by the fucking horses. By their own team. Oh, this guy just fell. Oh shit. really cool stuff here. So if you're interested in like more gestural shapes, if you're trying to capture the spirit of something, if your hand is injured and you're forced to use your other hand and you're struggling with, you know, like if you think you have to do many strokes, you don't have to. You can try and simplify things. I think this is a great opportunity for you to try something a bit more simplistic, but more raw and more real, right? Less rendered, right? Sure, less polished, fine, but it's real, right? So pick a moment, pick a story, and even if it doesn't make sense to everyone, that's not the point. The point is the idea, right, has to be your main priority. And you can do that with simple, real shapes. So that's it for this art review of let me just check. His name is I will link his ArtStation to it. It's chenchao, artstation.com/chenchao. He doesn't have much work on his ArtStation, but yeah, interesting. You do see a few more extras here on the ArtStation, but yeah, so it's chenchao. So that's it for this art review of chenchao, and I will link his links in the description below. So that's it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.